You don't try to be disciplined. You become disciplined. This is a subtle but massive shift in linguistics. If you say, "I'm trying to quit sugar," you are still a person who eats sugar but is struggling. If you say, "I don't eat sugar," the battle is over. Your identity is the thermostat of your life. If you see yourself as a struggling artist, you will always struggle. If you see yourself as a high-performance creator, your brain will find ways to live up to that standard. Act as if you are already the person you want to become. How would the 2.0 version of you walk? How would they speak? How would they handle a mistake? Start performing that role today, and eventually, the mask will become your face. Why are you doing this? If it's just to look good or make money, you will eventually quit when things get too difficult. To become the absolute strongest version of yourself, you need a transcendent purpose. You must act as if your ancestors are watching you and your descendants are counting on you. You are the bridge between the past and the future. If you fail to reach your potential, you are breaking the chain. You are telling everyone who sacrificed for you to be here that their efforts were in vain. The strongest version of you doesn't just work for himself. He works to be a pillar for his family and an example of what a human being is capable of. To sustain this transformation, you need a code. Without a code, you are just a leaf in the wind. Never negotiate with yourself. If you set a goal, it is a contract signed in blood. To break it is to lose your honor. Respect the grind, not the result. Fall in love with the sweat, the struggle, and the boredom. The results are just a byproduct. Stay dangerous. Never get too comfortable. Never think you made it. The moment you stop climbing, you start falling. Ownership of everything. If it's in your life, it's your responsibility. No blaming the economy, the government, or your upbringing. Close your eyes. Visualize the you of 2030. That person is either a hero or a warning. They are either a master of their destiny or a victim of their choices. Every single action you take today, the food you eat, the words you speak, the work you do, is a vote for one of those versions. Stop voting for the weakling. Stop apologizing for your ambition. The strongest version of you is standing on the other side of the pain you are currently avoiding. The blueprint is in your hands. The fire is in your chest. Now go and build your empire.
The version of you that exists today is a compromise. It is the result of every time you said later, every time you settled for good enough, and every time you let fear dictate your heartbeat. To reach the strongest version of yourself, you must start with a scorched earth policy. You cannot build a skyscraper on a foundation of rotting wood. Most people fail because they try to add greatness to a weak life. They buy expensive sneakers but keep the same lazy walk. They buy a productivity app but keep the same distracted mind. It doesn't work that way. Strength is a subtractive process. You become powerful by burning away the parts of you that are made of straw. Look at your habits. They are not who you are. They are a prison you built one brick at a time. Every time you check your phone, the second you wake up, you are adding a brick. Every time you eat food that you know makes you sluggish, you are adding a brick. The strongest version of you is already inside. He is just buried under a mountain of your own excuses. Your job isn't to find him, it's to dig him out. Your mind is the software, but your body is the hardware. You cannot run elite-level software on a broken, dusty machine. If you want to be the strongest version of yourself, you must treat your biology like a high-performance weapon. The war on dopamine. We live in an era of synthetic happiness. Your brain is being hijacked by algorithms designed to keep you scrolling, clicking, and consuming. You are currently a dopamine addict. You get a hit from a like, a hit from a video, a hit from a sugary snack. By 10 a.m., your brain is already fried. The strongest version of you has a clean reward system. You must earn your dopamine. No scrolling until the work is done. No sugar until the training is finished. When you force yourself to work for the reward actually tastes like victory, not like a drug. The iron standard of physicality. Strength is not an option, it is a duty. A weak body houses a weak will. When you push your physical limits, when you lift until your muscles scream or run until your lungs burn, you are training your central nervous system to handle pressure. You are telling your central nervous system that you are in charge, not your comfort. Consider the elite athletes. They don't have a secret. They have a standard. If your standard is doing enough to get by, then you've already lost.
Motivation is a fair weather friend. It shows up when the sun is out and you've had a good night's sleep. It disappears the moment things get hard. If you rely on motivation, you are a slave to your moods. The strongest version of you relies on systemic discipline. A system doesn't care how you feel. A system doesn't ask if you're inspired. If the clock says 5 a.m., the system wakes you up. If the schedule says deep work, the system locks the door and starts the timer. Replace your feelings with protocols. When you move from "I do this because I feel like it" to "I do this because it is who I am," you become unstoppable. The greats don't wait for the spark. They show up and strike the flint until the fire starts. The world is a chaotic place. It will try to break you. It will throw insults, failures, and tragedies at you. The weakest version of you reacts to everything. You get angry at a comment. You get sad about the weather. You get anxious about the future. The strongest version of you practices internal sovereignty. You realize that you cannot control what happens, but you have absolute control over how you interpret it. A setback is not a disaster, it is data. A failure is not the end, it is a lesson. When you master your internal narrative, you become unshakable. You become the eye of the storm. This requires a daily practice of mental auditing. At the end of every day, ask yourself, did I lead my mind or did my mind lead me? You are a product of your surroundings. If you hang out with 4 losers, you will be the 5th. If your room is a mess, your mind will be a mess. If your digital environment is full of gossip and negativity, your soul will be toxic. The social audit. Look at the people you spend the most time with. Do they challenge you? Do they make you feel uncomfortable because they are doing so much more than you? Or do they make you feel safe in your mediocrity? The strongest version of you is ruthless with his circle. You must spend time with people who represent your future, not your past. If your friends spend their weekends drinking and complaining, you need new friends. It's better to walk alone toward greatness than to walk in a crowd toward a cliff.
Time is the only non-renewable resource you have. Most people treat time like a bottomless pit, throwing hours away on things that don't matter. The strongest version of you treats time like a billionaire treats money. Every second is an investment. Stop spending time and start allocating it. This means saying no to almost everything. No to the random hangout. No to the pointless argument. No to the 3rd episode of a show you don't even like. By saying no to the trivial, you are saying yes to your legacy. You need to create deep work blocks, uninterrupted periods where your phone is in another room and your brain is fully engaged in a high-value task. This is where empires are built. Growth only happens in the presence of resistance. If you always take the easy path, your character muscles will atrophy. The strongest version of you seeks out the hard path on purpose. This is why we take cold showers. This is why we fast. This is why we train when we are tired. Not because we have to, but because we are practicing for the moments when life gets genuinely hard. When you have already mastered the art of being uncomfortable, the disasters of life lose their power over you. You are a forged blade. The heat of the world only makes you sharper. Seek the friction. Embrace the burn.